Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 Mocks of the Week episode. It's where we kind of just take a look at the coolest things that we happen to see people building throughout this last week in the world of LEGO. And like always, we are going to be showing your submissions, your fan mock creations at the end of the episode. So if you want your mock to appear in one of these episodes, check out the description below for the proper email address. That is brickvaultfanmocs@gmail.com. So jumping right into the very first mock of the week. This is by Dave Foreman, and it's a Bionicle mock called Protean. Here we have a figure built in a similar scale to sort of how Star Wars brick-built figures are put together, but I like this style where we have some sort of Bionicle pieces put in there, but a lot of good LEGO system bricks to kind of even out and sort of fill in some of the gaps that often Bionicle figures usually have. But really what attracts me the most about this build is the vibrant colors. Usually we don't see such great contrast with this robotic figure. It almost looks like he might be sort of a test robot or something like that, and he seems to have a friend hiding inside an Octan box. There's definitely a story in here somewhere, and there's just something about the figure that makes it feel like there's a little bit more personality. Kind of reminds me of that Chappie movie. Now the next mock here is by Pena, and it's a Uboat built at a 1/50th scale of, I believe, the original ship. So this is the submersible that the Germans used in World War II. Quite an effective fighting machine by all historical standards. And this mock is really clean looking. I have a feeling it's hyper accurate. I don't really know much about the measurements, but the builder also included a complete interior for the U-boat ship, and it does look just as cramped as you might imagine. The next build, number 8 in the line, is just simply called Old Camera, and it's by the builder Andreas Lenander. He says it's roughly inspired by the old Leica camera with a little bit of Canon and Nikon mixed in there. Personally, I just saw Leica. I don't really know much about sort of the old style camera, or when I see this, I usually think that nice old high quality Leica, and I'm not exactly sure how well this scales to the real size. I have a feeling this might be a little bit small compared to what maybe these types of cameras might be in real life, but it feels like it's decently scalable to a human hand, and I'm sure if you had one on you at a party or something, you might be able to trick people, at least for a few seconds, into thinking that it's actually a real camera. A hidden light brick on the inside might be an extra bit of fun, but anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's move on to number 7 in the build. This build has been circling around the community a lot in the last week. This is simply titled Stag by Joe Perez, and I always find it sort of awe-inspiring when somebody can sort of capture a stance, sort of a frozen bit of motion, so to speak, within a model of an animal or a human out of LEGO. The shape of the beast in and of itself is really accurate, but I feel like the really great part of this mock is kind of the captured energy. Perhaps this animal is like stopped in mid-motion, maybe having seen something just in the distance, and the black color to the whole thing makes it kind of awesome. Like if you had this on display in your living room or something against a window, the silhouette of this creature, especially from afar, would not make you think for a second that this is indeed a LEGO creation. This is not the first time Joe has captured an amazing stance from a LEGO model before, and I highly recommend you guys check out his Flickr and the Flickrs of all the builders that we're showing off here today. The next build we've got in line for you is called Moog sub Phatty by Chau. Now, I've definitely seen some sound systems built in sort of a LEGO midi or micro size before, but nothing like this. Honestly, nothing like what we're looking at here. From a distance, I honestly thought that this builder had used some non-LEGO parts to fill out the soundboard with all those little knobs, until I realized it's just a really clever use of pin pieces mixed with some bars. It gets just the right effect across, especially from a distance, not even that far of a distance really. And also, I think anybody can appreciate the way the keys were built, with the black keys kind of raised up halfway back. An awesome build for a subwoofer using a tire. And in general, just a great looking build all around. The headphones are amazing, and something tells me I'm not going to be seeing a better version of an electronic keyboard out of LEGO for quite a while. Now, it's no secret that we like food trucks here at the studio, both in real life and we also have a couple of food trucks in our LEGO city. But LEGO 7 has put together, what do you know, another type of hot dog stand. It's basically just called Hot Dogs Food Truck, and I think the most eye-catching part of this build, most people will admit, is the wiener dog, or the dachshund, on the top. It's great. His ears are kind of like flapping back in the wind a little bit. There's a wonderful sort of cartoony penmanship even to the words used to create hot dog on the top, and the color combination combination of the food truck is just kind of nice. It feels like something that we'd actually see down here in Southern California food stands where food trucks are super popular, and there's just a lot of really fun detail included. I even like that the hot dogs are used both of the different shades of the hot dog piece. There's just a lot of fun details, and I really want food trucks stand, or like maybe a big parking lot in our city where we can have a bunch of different food trucks all serving at the same time. Now, number 4 is a build that I saw in person at Bricks LA when we visited in the beginning of this month, and on a personal note, when we voted for Best Mock Creation at the end of the last day, I put this one down as my favorite. The builder is Parks and Wrecked Creations, and it's titled Rose Parade Float. So yeah, this isn't technically a vignette of a seascape at the bottom. In fact, well, I mean, it could be a vignette of just kind of an overly done, very vibrant bit of the seafloor, but in fact, this is what one of the floats is supposed to look like from the Rose Parade. I'm not sure if this is based on a real float that we've seen in real life at some point, or if this is just this particular builder's take on how maybe one of them would look. The tentacles have a lot of life to them. The wheel well pieces used for that sort of breathing hole, I guess, on the side of the octopus's head is like sort of a perfect little shape, and there's just an incredible variety of vibrant colors speckled all throughout this build. You wouldn't think you're looking at just kind of a sandy ocean floor, really. You've got pretty much all colors of the rainbow and a lot of fun little scenes condensed to just a small space. Now, getting into the top 3, this here is the Lego Lord of the Rings pinball machine by Vladimir von Hoek, and not only is this build massive, highly detailed, and just super creative, but extra points for being just incredibly interactive. I don't believe that there's lights or sound effects hooked up to this pinball machine. I have a feeling it's pure Lego, but when you see in this video that the pinball machine aspect of it works, and I mean, looks like it works well, it feels like all this effort is totally worth it. Really impressive build, and the same can be said for this giant behemoth coming up next. This is Base H17 by Z Cerberus, and it's essentially like the ultimate love letter to classic space design. So of course we've got that great color combination of gray, blue, and trans yellow, and here there's a variety of fun vehicles, a really kind of archaic sort of design for a base. It feels almost like a prison. There's a mining operation in one corner where it looks like they're sucking lava like straight out of a crater, but what really puts, like, I guess the icing on the cake, or whatever you want to say, but what really makes this thing look great is the fact that it lights up in just about a million places. I mean, it gives a super awesome sort of moonscape type feel after all the lights come on, and there are few space MOCs that come out quite as impressive as this one. Now, moving on to the very last build, the top of the 10 builds of the week, is the Icebreaker, or Brick Icebreaker by the Brickman. Now, if you're a Lego enthusiast, the chances of you having not seen a gigantic Lego ship is almost none. It's a pretty common mountain to climb for so many adult fans of Lego, but there is just something about this ship that really stands out, or actually a couple of things. First off, the stand that holds this thing up, really sticking out of the waves. I mean, that's just so impressive. It's amazing. The waves themselves, I don't know how many pieces this took to create, how much time it took, but this MOC feels 10 times more interesting and impressive when you see it upward at this great angle on top of this giant sea of blue. And the number 2 reason why this thing is so darn impressive is when you look at it on the other side, we have this insane cross section. It looks like 100 rooms or something. There's something happening in just about all of them. So many fun little scenes, and they all light up. So basically there's 3 really big things that I found super impressive about this model, and I hope you guys enjoyed the top 10 MOCs that we found for the week. Now is the Fan MOC creations. These are all of the pictures you guys sent to us in the last week, and remember, if you want your pictures to appear in the next Sunday top 10 MOCs episode, you can send them to the email brickvaultfanmocs@gmail.com. It's in the description below as well. And thanks a lot for watching. Here are the Fan MOCs of the week.